Welcome back. Top diplomats from 8 Arab countries called on Saturday for a peaceful transition in Syria with UN and Arab League support following Bashar al-Assad's ouster. In a final statement after their talks in the Jordanian Red Sea port of Aqaba, the foreign ministers from Jordan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Lebanon, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Qatar said they had agreed to support a peaceful transition process in Syria in which all political and social forces are represented. In the presence of Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abul Ghait, the ministers stressed that the political process in Syria should be supported by the United Nations and the Arab League in accordance with the principles of Security Council Resolution 2254 of 2015, which set out a roadmap for a negotiated settlement. Now we are joined with a phone call by our guest, the Ambassador Hussein Hareedy, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Mr. Hussein.
Good afternoon, Madam.
First of all, how would you describe the global reaction to the victory of the revolution in Syria?
Well, I'm not sure we'll describe it, we'll designate it, we call it a revolution, but remains to be seen. Anyhow, most countries have welcomed the latest developments in Syria. However, some have shown some hesitancy towards the future.
Yes.
So let's wait. Syria is passing through a transitional period. I guess it's too premature, too early to have a definite say on developments, on future developments in Syria. But let's wait and see. They have an interim government till March 1st next. And then we'll see how things would develop after March 1st. And of course, they have to draw up a constitution, hold hopefully fair and free elections. And then, of course, we'll see. It remains to be seen whether it will be a parliamentary system or a presidential system. If it would be a presidential system, let's see who would become, who the candidates would be, and who would become the next president of Syria. So, personally speaking, I guess it's too early to predict how things would develop in Syria.
Well, how do you see steps taken so far by the revolutionists for the unity of the country, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, for me, I'm sorry, I have a reservation. These are not revolutionaries. These are a band of terrorists. They were part of Jabhat al-Nusra. Their leader was a member, was the deputy leader of Musab al-Zarqawi in Iraq, and then al-Baghdadi of Daesh.
Yes.
And Al-Qaeda. So I'm personally speaking, I can't call them or describe them as revolutionaries. Okay, that's the first thing I would like to underline. Secondly, they are saying what the world would like to hear. That's all I'll say as far as your question is concerned.
Right. Top diplomats from 8 Arab countries called on Saturday for a peaceful transition in Syria with the UN and Arab League support. How would you elaborate on steps to be taken in this regard?
Well, this meeting was, this meeting, of course, I don't know what they mean about peaceful transition in Syria. That's the first remark. The second thing is that this is a meeting that was called by the Americans and was attended by the United States Secretary of State, Mr. Anthony Blinken, who was touring, who previously visited Jordan, had a meeting with the Jordanian king, and went to Ankara, Turkey, and met with the Turkish president as well as the foreign minister of Turkey. And then he went yesterday to meet with what regional foreign ministers, of course, regional here. Most ministers who were attending this meeting yesterday were from the Arab world, and of course, the United States is looking for an Arab support for the new regime in Damascus. So, according to the declaration or the statement that was released after the meeting, Well, nothing new. The meeting welcomed the transition, said that we be watching how things develop. We would like, they repeated the often repeated sentence by the United States, by the European Union, by some Arab countries, that we are looking forward to an all-inclusive political process in Syria. Of course, there is no doubt about that. Of course, that's what the whole world wants. That's what we believe the Syrian people want. But let's wait and see after March 1st next how would the constitution of the new Syria, between brackets, would be written.
Well, Mr. Ambassador, Arab heads of state called for all political and social forces to be represented in Syria. How do you see the call, and which political and social parties are meant by this call?
Well, I didn't get the question, madam. Would you mind repeating it?
Yes, of course. Arab heads of state called for all political and social forces to be represented in Syria. How do you see the call, and which political and social parties are meant by this call?
Well, as I told you, madam, this is a transitional stage in Syria. The Americans, the British, and some Europeans are supporting the new regime in Syria, and they want the Arab countries to support not only politically, but to provide the new regime with enough financial resources to meet the daunting financial and economic challenges ahead of the new Syrian government. So let's wait and see. I'm really very hesitant to pass any judgment of what's going on in Syria right now, and let's wait and see, madam. Let's wait and see how things will develop and how Arab countries would react to the new Syrian constitution. How the various Syrian political forces would deal with the new regime, and how the new regime would deal with the sects and the Syrian Kurds, the Syrian Alawites. Let's wait and see, ma'am. We preferably shouldn't jump to conclusions at the present stage.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ambassador Hussein Hareedy, for joining us today in our news coverage on Nile TV International. Ladies and gentlemen, we will go for a short break and come back again. Stay with us.